reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network. Hello everyone, and welcome to MMO Reporter's final Dungeons & Dragons Online Shadowfell Conspiracy preview. We've got a few devs on this press call here at the live stream, and we're going to take a look at the big wilderness area for Dungeons & Dragons Online Shadowfell Conspiracy.
We're headed to the Stormhorn Mountains, sorry, which are sort of the upper border of Cormier. And unlike almost all the rest of Cormier, they're normally kind of wild. So we're actually going to start, when we're ready, we're going to jump into the first quest rather than the wilderness itself and sort of get the story framework shown off before we start running around and looking at monsters. In this quest, so there's this Harper agent who you've actually met in other quests named Orifon Huntsilver. And he's basically been up in the mountains and he's uncovered this new plot of the Empire of Netheril. And he wants to tell you all about it, so he's basically come here to meet him to find out what he's learned. And basically he just has time to tell you that there are all these monsters, orcs and giants and stuff, amassing in huge numbers in the mountains. So somebody should go grab his book for him. He's a little disorganized, he's been on the run. No sooner does he do that than, as you see, the Netherese have been hot on his trail and they show up and basically ruin everything. So it plays out, but to make a long story short, they kidnap him and leave you to deal with the quest, which is getting your way out of this ambush that they've set up. On a storytelling front, one of the things we're sort of proud here is that we have showed you the end boss for the whole story and the end boss for this dungeon in the first minute, which is something we always want to do because the more you know a boss, the more you enjoy killing them later.
And what you're seeing here is we have some new orcs for Forgotten Realms. You just saw them and some Netherese wizards that you were just fighting.
This drama sequence, we're still tightening it up a little bit, but there he goes. He's kidnapped the guy, and the boss is running off to the end of the dungeon where you have to follow her before you can defeat her.
So what's the boss's name again?
The final boss is Amskar, and Shai is the boss you fight at the end of this. So we're not going to go through every inch of every dungeon, but what's cool about this specific dungeon is we've used the random encounter tech that we normally use in the landscapes in a bunch of the areas here. So the way that it works is you'll go into an area and you won't know whether there's a pit trap or some kind of ambush or sort of what enemies you'll be encountering. So every run through is a little bit more randomized, not just in what am I killing here, but is the ground going to fall out from under me. For the whole content, for the whole expansion pack, but for this content pack specifically, we're releasing it in 2 levels, heroic and epic modes. So this will be 19 and 27 are the 2 modes you can play it on.
So this will come towards the end of the of your time with Shadowfell Conspiracy.
Right, exactly. This will be the level 27 epic version of the quest is the highest level content that we'll have until we release higher level content.
Right, and some of the timing of this in the Evening Star timeline is this is sort of at the start of the Drow attack, and it's at the beginning of the Netherese attack, so we get to see a little bit of that, and then as you go through the content, which is the first Evening Star Forgotten Realms experience we did last year, you'll go through that content, and then you get to go and finish the story at high levels, which is the new level cap above 25 in this expansion pack. Right. So we have an overlapping story of you got the Netherese Empire, then you go and battle the Drow, and you come back and complete this, trying to stop the Netherese in your level cap range.
We're actually really proud of what we accomplished with the landscape on a bunch of levels. It's a huge landscape with huge features. If we can kind of head down to that stream area and turn and see the little crossing. Yeah, so as you're going to see in a minute, the Stormhorns are massive mountain range. They're literally a physical boundary that most people, just keeps Cormier safe on its northern and western borders. And there's a giant lake on the other side. For players like me who actually have a really bad sense of direction, this is awesome because I am lost far less often in this landscape than I am in most games and most open explorable areas.
And you can see up onto the mountains there that is actually playable area.
Yes. Yeah, we will literally be going up where you can see.
It can be a very vertical area.
So this is one of the story random encounters we created for the lower area. Satyrs are sort of mercurial woodland creatures. Sometimes they just see you and they decide they want you for dinner. But sometimes they'll invite you to dance in one of their little festive galas. So literally we set this up so you can /dance. And depending on how well you dance, you'll get a different reward. That's great. So one of the things we did thematically with the Stormhorns is we tried to set so we made sure that there was a lowlands that you climb up so you get the full sense of a journey. And then we tried to create the distinction between nature, which can sometimes be hostile and kill you, and actual enemies. And what you'll find mostly down here is nature. Sometimes you'll come across a mountain lion who just wants to kill you, or the owl bear standing in the distance there. And sometimes you'll just come across some satyrs or a dryad, and they're just hanging out.
And here we've got an owl bear, a long-requested monster. These guys are some of the biggest that we have in the game. And you'll see them just wandering around, in addition to, I believe, mostly satyrs and dryads in this lower area, and we'll start to see some other monsters as we get up higher.
So that's a dryad's tree. You can see a dryad there. And the thing about dryads is, actually, they're totally cool with you as long as you don't break the laws of the forest. However, if you should see a fox run by and kill it, she is not going to be happy.
So this is farther up the mountain. You can walk all the way here. There was only a load screen because we teleported you here. But looking over this cliff, you can actually see the area where you were just at. The entrance is down there, and you were looking up at this spot from the river.
And yes, you can jump off. We've done it. It's fun.
If you want to jump, I'll pull you back up when you're done.
Wait.
Let's go for it. See how far you can make it. Are you feather falling?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's going to be a while.
Yeah. Go back. Let's see your character fall.
Geronimo.
You could actually probably make it back to the start area.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have a fast movement speed, you can get really far. So, like I was saying earlier, the river cuts straight through, and it makes it looks spectacular, and it makes a really strong feature for the whole landscape. Again, we can see the waterfalls under a full moon.
So is this the largest landscape in DDO? Landscape area.
It's the highest.
It's yes. So not technically. King's Forest was probably a little bigger, but we are actually quite proud of having hit a size density ratio that we think is like kind of. We think this is sort of our best yet in terms of getting it really big and still having it packed full of stuff that's interesting and varied.
Another new monster that we've got here is the Ice Elemental, which instead of Earth Grab, it shoots upwards for its ears. And the Rageful Death.
So we should jump into supply of more.
Just goes up the sky.
Everyone says it's very pretty.
Right.
Everyone likes the trees.
Yeah, they're gorgeous something.
Yeah, I think we had always done deciduous trees up until now. These were our first conifers. So in this is a quest. We got a couple quests where you're sort of taking on the monster army itself. In this one, you're trying to cut their supply lines. We think we sort of created a really cool, different, unique gameplay style for this. It's sort of inspired by tower defense games. You have a couple minutes to prep before the supply trains come through a Tumble Rock Pass, which we'll see in a moment, and you have a bunch of things you can do to prepare for it. Those range from things like finding boulders that you can drop on the supply trains to finding somebody who will give you net traps, and there's some harpies who you can persuade to help you fight the enemy army. So in addition to having a bunch of different options for how you run this fight, it's also got sort of graded success levels. So you depending on how many of the supply trains you can keep from reaching the end, you get different levels of reward. We're persuading the harpies to help us right now, using violence as a persuasion tactic. If you've got the right skills, you can use other means of persuasion, but violence when all else fails. We're diving down into the valley now.
We persuaded them with our strength.
Yes. So if somebody could run up to the ledge so we can see the boulder, because that's definitely the other thing. So now the harpies are fighting for us, and we've got the giants coming in. You'll see the guys who are bearing the supplies have big packs on their backs. We've got a couple different types of those. We had some fun with this. The giants are big and lumbering and are sort of the sacks of hit points you'd expect, but we've got gnolls who sprint through the level and are devilishly difficult. We set all this up just so we could drop a boulder on the enemy. So these boulders are actually interactable, and we're going to see if we can set it up so that there we go. Wish us luck in hitting something.
Come on, go.
And boom.
Yes.
So we had fun making this.
Lots of strategic decisions.
Pretty much what we're trying to say.
Very different gameplay.
I think it's fun to play. It was definitely fun to build. This red dragon is hanging out in his home, which is pretty cool. It's got a nice view. The rent's a little high, but
It's a very recognizable roar he has.
Yeah. So he'll, dragons are not stupid, so he'll chat with you a little first. He's always going to try and kill you no matter what, but depending on your conversation, you may find that there's a little more treasure available to you than others. Just to talk for a quick moment about dragons, since our last X-Pack, we've sort of had our dragon tech sort of expanded, and it's really flexible now. We have this thing we call the Dragon Kit that lets us assemble dragons, so each one looks a little unique. And Phil has been tuning the AI over time.
Yep, they have different neck lengths, they have some different behaviors, and each of the iconic colors and types of dragons is appropriate to lore and to reference and concept that we've got from Waltzy.
And their tail hit really hurts.
Alright, so in the interest of time, I'm going to sort of start talking up the next and final destination of our journey, which is, because the Netherese are an ancient empire of arcane wizards, their plans are never simple, they always have to be elaborate. So just amassing an army on a mountainside is not good enough for them. They have secrets, and those secrets turn out to be hidden inside of the glacier at the top of the mountain. In fact, as we're going to learn, there are some ancient and important things buried there. So once we've had our fun with the dragon,
Can you loot all that gold?
pretty much, yeah.
Yes.
Once you defeat the dragon. You don't get to loot it while you're fighting the dragon. That would be cheating. So we actually get to go into the glacier twice. The first time we find out that there's this giant excavation in there, and the second time is the capstone. We're going to kind of reveal the sort of first half of the secrets and mysteries. So we see this kind of gorgeous, you're inside of the ice. We're really happy with how the visuals came out. Eventually it's going to turn out that Orofan, who was kidnapped in the very first quest, is being held prisoner here. Not only is he being held prisoner here, but he's being held prisoner in a secret center of the glacier where there's an ancient Netherese artifact called the Mythalar. For those of you who are not consummate D&D nerds, a Mythalar is a giant, ancient, sort of magical power cell, sort of like a nuclear generator. And they were part of what made ancient Netheril the might and terror of the Forgotten Realm. And now we get to see the Mythalar, and there are these mages in this circle, and they're busy casting a spell to reactivate it. And we are going to quickly dispense with them so we can see what happens when we almost but don't quite thwart the spell. We're gonna kill the head wizard, who's finally bothered to deal with us. And there's a blast of magical radiance, and you can see the Mythalar is on now. And uh-oh, what's going on? So we wake up, the room's changed a little, there's Orofan, he's pointing up, making sure you see that the Mythalar has catapulted up anti-gravity-wise and lodged itself in the ceiling. And we are on the verge of the finale, which we will save for the players.
Well, there's a concept at Login that we take the metaphor that you're going to play your favorite D&D character, and you're going to walk up to the bookshelf, and you're going to decide which campaign you want to play in. Do you want to play in Eberron, or do you want to play in Forgotten Realms? And we're offering this at the character selection screen. In fact, if we log this character out, you'll be able to see those options on the screen. So it's something that Iconics will be able to do right from the start. You pick which location you want to transport into. This is a gateway for Eberron characters to get in, bypassing the story, which is playing through the Lolth encounter in Eberron and then transferring through the Demon Web. You could actually just teleport through to these sort of landing spots in each campaign. They have a unique room that they can teleport to as you start your campaign.
So that loading screen you saw was temporary, but this is what we're calling the Hall of Heroes, and the idea is exactly that it's a landing spot, and also that it's sort of a space in between. So it's in the world, but it's sort of like a timeless corridor.
So that is our final Dungeons & Dragons Online Shadowfell Conspiracy preview for you. I hope that you like these live streams. We'd love to hear what you thought of them and how they worked out for you as a listener. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and check out all your favorite podcasts at MMOreporter.com.